Walk into any Ford dealership right now, and there is one truck you cannot get without a waiting list. It is not the F-150. It is not the Raptor. It is a truck that costs less than half what the average new vehicle sells for in America. The Ford Maverick starts under $25,000 and is the cheapest new pickup truck you can buy right now. And it is accidentally proving that Detroit has been lying to you for 20 years. Ford will tell you this truck is an experiment, a niche product for people who do not need a real truck. But here is what they are not saying out loud. The Ford Ranger base model defied the automakers' overall decline in truck sales to start 2026, and it happens to be one of the most affordable Ford pickups you can buy. The cheap trucks are the only ones selling. Everything else is collapsing. Let me show you the numbers they do not want you to see. Full-size Ford trucks had a 31% segment share, with sales falling 16% in Q1 2026. Meanwhile, Ram announced their 1,500 light-duty trucks had their best sales quarter since 2022, and Ram HD pickup trucks had their best sales quarter since 2021. You know what Ram did differently? They brought back the Hemi V8 and introduced several packages aimed at offering trucks at lower price points. Detroit spent 2 decades convincing America that trucks had to cost $70,000. They loaded them with touchscreens, leather seats, and massaging functions. They told you these were necessary upgrades, that you needed adaptive cruise control to haul plywood, that a heated steering wheel was essential for a work truck. And then they jacked the price up every single year and called it inflation. But something broke in 2025. Results showed fewer people intended to buy full-size trucks and SUVs, while intent to buy smaller, less expensive vehicles was higher, with sedans in particular ranking well on the survey. Analysts from the Dave Canton Group believe U.S. buyers have reached peak truck. Think about what that means. For nearly 50 years, the F-Series has been the best-selling vehicle in America. Ford sold some 828,842 F-Series trucks in 2025. But despite the slight decline in sales, Ford's F-Series trucks still outsold the closest competitor by 241,315 units. Ford is still winning the war, but they are losing the future. Because here's what the Maverick accidentally exposed. Americans do not hate trucks. They hate being financially destroyed by trucks. When Ford offered a basic, honest, no-nonsense pickup for under $25,000, people could not order them fast enough. Dealerships started adding $10,000 markups because demand was so extreme. And Ford, instead of ramping up production to meet that demand, kept the Maverick constrained so it would not cannibalize F-150 sales. Let that sink in. Ford intentionally limited production of their most in-demand truck because it was too affordable. They would rather sell you a $60,000 F-150 on an 84-month loan than let you buy a $25,000 Maverick with cash. This is not capitalism. This is a cartel. And now the reckoning is coming. Venture capitalist Stephen Greenfield believes Chinese automakers may enter the U.S. market in 2026 through joint ventures with legacy automakers, with the most likely path involving partnerships with existing American automakers. Chinese vehicles could offer sub-$20,000 quality cars, potentially solving America's automotive affordability crisis. You want to know how terrified Detroit is right now. BYD, Chery, and Geely are already gearing up for a Canadian debut, establishing dealer networks and trademark registrations, with launches planned by 2026. Canada struck a new trade agreement with China that allows up to 49,000 China-made EVs to enter the country at lower tariff rates. These companies are not coming to sell luxury vehicles. They are coming to sell $20,000 pickups that do not break. BYD's PHEV pickup sold 5,172 units globally in May 2025, a 517% year-over-year surge, dominating markets like Mexico and Chile. Great Wall exported 17,500 pickup trucks in April 2025, a 13.6% increase year-on-year, remaining the top Chinese pickup exporter. These are not concepts. These are production vehicles being sold by the tens of thousands in markets that look exactly like America. And here is the part that should terrify Ford and GM the most. In 2025, more than 65% of electric trucks worldwide were manufactured in China or have Chinese batteries and parts. Ranging from last-mile delivery vans to heavy-duty semi-trucks, these vehicles are cheaper, more environmentally friendly, and increasingly advanced. You think a $70,000 F-150 with a fragile 10-speed transmission and a turbo V6 that grenades itself at 80,000 miles is going to compete with a $22,000 Chinese diesel pickup with a manual transmission and a 300,000-mile engine? You think brand loyalty is going to save Detroit when people are choosing between a mortgage payment and a truck payment? I want to be clear about something. This is not about being anti-American or pro-China. This is about what happens when an industry gets so arrogant that it stops serving its customers. Detroit had 20 years to build affordable, reliable trucks. They chose stock buybacks and executive bonuses instead. They chose to delete the manual transmission, the V8 engine, and the $30,000 work truck. They made that choice. And now the consequences are arriving. Detroit's big three automakers have collectively fallen from a global market share of 21.4% in 2019 to an estimated 15.7% in 2025, while China's largest automakers, BYD and Geely, have grown from less than 3% market share to an estimated 11.1%. This is not a future threat. This is happening right now. And it is accelerating. You want to know the saddest part? Ford already proved they know how to fix this. The Maverick is the answer. With a starting price under $25,000, the Ford Maverick costs about half what new cars sell for on average and is the cheapest new pickup truck you can buy right now. It is not a compromise. It is exactly what the market is screaming for, but instead of building 1 million of them, Ford is keeping it limited so they can keep selling $80,000 F-150s to the shrinking pool of people who can still afford them. GM is doing the exact same thing. GM remained America's best seller of full-size pickups overall during Q1 2026, accounting for 40% segment share with 204,425 deliveries combining all Silverados and Sierras. But the two electric GM trucks combined for only 2,694 units, with the Silverado EV posting 4,406 sales and the Sierra EV 1,288. Their $80,000 electric trucks are sitting on dealer lots while Chinese companies are selling electric pickups by the thousands overseas. The average transaction price for a new vehicle in March 2026 was $49,275, up 3.5% from 1 year earlier, as compact and subcompact vehicles lost share while sales of full-size pickup trucks and SUVs pulled the industry average higher. Translation, the only people still buying new vehicles in America are the wealthy. Everyone else has been priced out. And Detroit is fine with that until they are not. Because here is what happens next. Those Chinese automakers are not going to stay in Canada. Canada's decision is a big deal because it gives Chinese brands a real entry point into North America, And once these cars are on Canadian roads, it is only a matter of time before the rest of the continent takes notice. They are going to partner with struggling American brands. Nissan could be the surprise gateway for Chinese automakers to enter the US market, with global sales down 41% from their peak in 2017 and a failed Honda partnership making them vulnerable to bold moves. And when that happens, when you can walk into a dealership and buy a brand new Chinese-built pickup truck for $22,000 with a warranty, a diesel engine, and a manual transmission, the Ford and Chevy loyalty is going to evaporate faster than morning dew. Not because Americans hate American trucks, but because Americans are tired of being extorted. Detroit made a choice. They chose short-term profit over long-term survival. They chose $90,000 luxury trucks over $25,000 work trucks. They chose to abandon the core customer who built their empires, the construction worker, the small business owner, the farmer who needs a tool, not a status symbol. And now the bill is coming due. The Maverick was not supposed to be a warning shot. It was supposed to be a limited experiment. But it accidentally became the most honest vehicle Ford has built in 20 years. And in doing so, it exposed the lie that Detroit has been selling. That trucks have to be expensive. That working class Americans should accept 84-month loans as normal. That a vehicle that costs more than a year of someone's salary is reasonable. The Maverick proved that was always a lie. And now the world is watching. The Chinese manufacturers are watching. And they are coming with $20,000 answers to problems Detroit refuses to solve. You can be mad about that. You can wrap yourself in the flag and talk about buying American. But when your kid needs braces and your roof needs replacing and you need a truck for work and Ford wants $70,000 while a Chinese company offers $22,000, what are you going to do? Loyalty does not pay the mortgage. Detroit had 2 decades to figure this out. They chose not to. Now someone else will